Hurricane Grace is approaching the Mexican coast, and Tropical Storm Henri is a significant threat to New England. Good Friday, I'm Mike Naso here with the latest on the tropics on our YouTube page. We want to start with Grace and get it out of the way, even though it's the stronger of the two systems. For the United States, the focus is quickly becoming on Henri. This is the latest on Hurricane Grace as of 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. The eye of the hurricane was at 20.6 north, 94.3 west. Winds of 85. Now, the Air Force has been flying around there, finding that Grace is getting better organized. It is forecast to strengthen all the way into landfall and become a Category 2 hurricane, at least 90 knots, which is 105 miles per hour, prior to landfall in Mexico. It's moving west at 14. That's just slow enough, as you can see, to keep it over water long enough to become a stronger hurricane. We do have hurricane warnings in effect for the mainland coast of Mexico from Puerto Veracruz to Cabo Rojo, a tropical storm warning north of there to Barra del Tordo. And again, this is all because of the expanding wind field, especially off towards the north and east, as Grace makes its way towards the coastline. Here's a beautiful visible satellite imagery as the sun comes up throughout the morning. You can see clearly starting to see an eye-type feature there. Once it closes that off, the strengthening should become more rapid. Thankfully, it's going to impact land and stop strengthening, because if this thing had a few days over water, it would probably become a major hurricane. You can see the outflow there expanding on the northern and western sides. Good curvature. This Bay of Campeche, the way it's shaped, almost helps to curve these systems with their outflow over these very hot waters. So again, Grace, a hurricane strengthening, headed for the Mexican coastline. The key messages right now: hurricane conditions and a dangerous storm surge are likely across eastern mainland Mexico beginning late today, Friday, within that hurricane warning area. And number two, throughout the weekend, heavy rainfall throughout Veracruz and the other states in Mexico that could cause flash and urban flooding and the likelihood of mudslides. Again, it's not the strength of the storm when it comes to rainfall, but the mountainous terrain. You have orographic lift where the mountains almost create more rainfall. But again, that's going to be the main threat with Grace. Gusty winds at the coast and storm surge, but then obviously heavy rainfall once it moves inland, even as it weakens. There's the latest as of 10 a.m. Central in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking guests down there in Mexico, if you want to get the latest there on Grace. Now let's move on to Henri, which is now a significant threat to New England. It looks like it's going to make landfall within about the next 60 hours in the United States. You can see it there, still getting sheared from the north, although it looks like the shear is decreasing and the system's bursting. Let's look at the latest now on Henri as of 11 a.m. Eastern from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical Storm Henri was at 30.4 north, 73.7 west, winds of 65. It's been pretty steady the last 24 hours in the face of that 20-knot shear from the north. Moving northwest now at 7, and it is forecast to intensify and become a hurricane all throughout Saturday and Sunday. We have a couple of watches and warnings to get through. First of all, we have a hurricane watch from the south shore of Long Island, from Fire Island Inlet to Montauk, at the north shore of Long Island from Port Jefferson Harbor to Montauk, for New Haven, Connecticut to Sagamore Beach, Massachusetts, and all of this includes Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and Block Island. So if you're in those areas, you are under a hurricane watch. That'll probably become a hurricane warning over the next 24 hours. We also have a tropical storm watch west of Fire Island Inlet to East Rockaway, and west of Port Jefferson Harbor, and west of New Haven, Connecticut. So again, you don't hear those areas on these updates very often, but they are on the coastline, and they're under a threat of a hurricane landfall. Also, we have a storm surge watch, which I'll talk about in a little bit. You can see the forecast has Henri pulling on off to the north, and then maybe even a bend to the west, and making landfall sometime on Sunday evening, it looks like, right over areas there of Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Anybody from Brooklyn all the way to Cape Cod, you guys need to be preparing for some very wet and gusty weather and the potential landfall of a hurricane from Henri. Here's the satellite imagery, and you can see it is bursting there. It has that comma shape to it. I'm not seeing as much shear on it as I was yesterday, so it looks like once this center becomes more established underneath that deep convection, we'll see it become a hurricane probably pretty quickly, and that's going to be a big, big problem. You can see some of the forecast models. This is the HWRF as of 6Z, makes it a hurricane, a strong hurricane, and look at that landfall directly over areas there of the far eastern end of Long Island, and it slows down. So again, the heavy, heavy rainfall anywhere from Philadelphia, New Jersey, Albany, you guys will be wet. And here's the HMON hurricane model, also makes it a strong hurricane. Look at that fat donut eye just to the east of Cape Hatteras, strengthens it very quickly, and then it accelerates and goes, look at that, right over the middle of Long Island, Fire Island, Rockaway. You guys would all be impacted, and some of the heaviest storms there are over areas of New York City. So again, these computer models have been trending a little west today, and that's concerning for areas like New Jersey and New York City, and not any better for areas of Massachusetts because we're still expecting the slowdown and then the turn eventually to the east. Again, this is all going to be a factor as far as this troughiness. This trough is going to act to pull it more northward than push it northeast like they normally do, and that's why we have this weird angle approach to the coastline. You can see there the shear map is getting favorable, more and more low shear ahead of it, and when you combine that with these hot Gulf Stream waters, Henri should strengthen, and that's why it looks like as it pulls to the north, it should be able to strengthen at least to about 37, 38, and even if it's weakening, it's going to have a lot of energy that's going to be accelerating right there into the coastline, and with that, water rises. We do have that storm surge watch, as I mentioned, for the south shore of Long Island from East Rockaway Inlet to Montauk, and the north shore of Long Island from Kings Point to Montauk, Flushing, New York to Sagamore Beach, Massachusetts, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, Block Island, all of you guys under a storm surge watch. You can see as of right now, the water rises up to 3 to 5 feet in Narragansett Bay and Buzzards Bay. All of these areas, though, on Long Island, 2 to 4 feet. So the Hamptons, Long Island Sound, Block Island Sound, if the system makes landfall, let's say it made landfall over New York City, we'd talk about the right side there pushing that water right into Long Island Sound. That would be very, very bad news. If the system makes landfall down here north of Cape May, Atlantic City, you're still talking about that water rises, but that would be more here in the area of the Hudson River and Manhattan. So again, all of these areas, even up Cape Cod, 3 to 5 feet, remember on the right side where you have the onshore flow is where the most pileup will be, but it's still a little early to determine that. We don't know exactly where the center will make landfall, and we don't know exactly how strong it'll be. The key messages for Henri as of 11 a.m. Number 1, dangerous storm surge inundation and hurricane conditions possible beginning Sunday in Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Southeast Massachusetts. We have those watches and warnings. Residents in those areas should follow any advice given by local officials. Number 2, heavy rain could cause flash urban small stream flooding, along with the potential for widespread minor and isolated moderate river flooding over areas of southern New England Sunday into Monday. That's your weekend, by the way. And number 3, swells from Henri will begin to reach much of the East Coast by the end of this week and will continue. Life-threatening surf and rip currents. Stay out of the water. Don't plan any vacations. If you guys are going on vacation to Long Island or the Hamptons, sorry. It's going to be a wet weekend at the very least. There's the water vapor imagery. Look at this outflow here expanding. When it gets that kind of peacock look to it like that, that is a sign that that northerly shear has abated, and this bursting means that we'll probably see Henri become a hurricane probably sooner than we think. You can see this troughiness here moving off the East Coast. I wish there was a better way to describe how it's going to scoop up Henri like that over those warm Gulf Stream waters and intensify it. Again, anywhere from Cape May to Cape Cod, you guys are right in the direct line of fire from Henri. So we're going to watch this very, very carefully. Stay tuned for further updates, and we'll be doing it right here, watching it just like you. So again, the focus right now, we do have Grace. Grace is a powerful Category 1 hurricane, going to make landfall probably as a Category 2. I don't think it'll be a major hurricane, a Category 3 or higher, but it would if it had more time over water, and it's going to slam into Mexico, and then as time goes on, the focus will shift exclusively to Henri as we will watch it head towards New England and the eastern seaboard of the United States. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on this Friday. Stay tuned, and we'll stay updated on Henri.